I can hear you, but you're on your cell phone, and you know what happened last week. So.
Okay. Well, I'll try to be mindful. So if it starts to be,
I'm going to tell you if it starts getting choppy.
Okay.
I'm going to let you know.
Alrighty.
Because I think you should try from your home phone, but that's on you.
Maybe I could switch right now. I mean, if you think it's going to be better.
Yeah, because last week it was like this. It was your cell phone, and it started going. You were like underwater.
All right. How's it sound right now?
It's sounding okay right now, but more people come on. We only have 6 people on.
Okay.
More people, and that's what happened last week.
All righty. Well, let me switch out. I'm going to put on the home phone. All righty.
Okay. All right.
All right, devotees who are on the Facebook Live, if you could bear with me for 1 minute, I'm going to switch out and go to my home phone for the actual telephone conference part. Because apparently my cell phone sometimes comes a little garbled. So let's do this. And we'll get started in exactly about 1 minute here.
Welcome. This service is provided by freeconferencecall.com. Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. Please re-enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. Please re-enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign.
Let's see. Let's try this one more time.
Please re-enter your access code.
All right, please bear with me 1 second here. Technology. I don't know. It's great for doing virtual association. It also could be very annoying.
Welcome. This service is provided by freeconferencecall.com. Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. Please re-enter your access code.
Okay.
Welcome. This service is provided by freeconferencecall.com. Please enter your access code followed by the pound or hash sign. Please announce yourself.
Dandavats, Bhumi. I'm sorry for interrupting the staff in studio, but my home phone it won't take the code, so I don't know what's going on. I need to get started, so we'll do our best here and just pray to Guru and Gauranga that everything works out. All right.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and start the staff and okay.
All right.
Hey Shri Guru Dinabandhu Ganadasu Ananda Datta Karunaya Kushindu Brindavana Sinavatar Prasida Shirara Pranaya Prachara Ajanu Lambito Bujo Kanakavadato Sankirtanai Kapitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishwambaro Dvijavaro Yugadama Palo Vande Jagat Priya Karo Karuna Avataro Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Hemam Dibachcha Vishundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasha Pradaya Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Guruve Gaur Chandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhoktaya Tora Bhoktaya Namo Namaha Bhakta Vihina Yaparada Lakshaya Kshiptascha Kamadita Rangamaje Kripamai Tvang Sharanang Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanarvindam He Shri Shamasundara Shikara Shekara Smira Shimini Nohara Radhikara Sikamama Kripaniri Sapiya Charana Kinkarim Kuru Tavaivasmi Na Jivami Toya Vinoiti Vigyaira Detvam Nayamam Charanantikam Yat Kinkareshu Bahusa Kaluka Kavani Nityapurasha Purusha Shashakandamuli Tashagadara Sanidhi Visamanujayas Tatkeli Kunja Pavanangana Marajini Shama Vancha Kalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasadi, Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Dandavad Pranam to all devotees both on the telephone conference and on the live stream. So today there are some Avirbhav and Tirubhav of various Vaishnavas. Shri Srinivasa Acharya, Shri Dhananjaya Pandit, and Shri Gadadhar Das. It is their Avirbhav or Tirubhav accordingly. Today is that day. So before we get started with the regular flow of our continuation of the seminars that we're running for Kartik, we want to beg their causeless mercy as well as our entire Guru Varga to give their causeless mercy and blessings to all of us to go on in this very esteemed and wonderful process of bhakti. As well, today is Gopastami. It is the day, and perhaps at the end of our essential progression of the seminars, we'll speak a little bit about Gopastami, and hopefully other devotees will chime in as well. But today is the day that Krishna graduates. So Krishna graduates from taking care of the calves, and he's actually awarded the necessary implements to start his cow herding, and he actually begins taking care of the cows today. As well, on this day, in many places in Braj, it is not universal, but in many places in Braj, today is also a very special Leela, where Shrimati Radhika, the divine Pada, or lotus feet of Shrimati Radhika, are shown because of a very special Leela, and we'll speak about that, like I said, at the end of our regular structured class that we're moving forward with based on the seminars. Before I go on, I also want to make again a plug for the phone conference, which takes place 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. On Monday nights, it begins at 7 o'clock, like tonight. So even after our seminars here have run their course, devotees who would like, they can always call into the phone conference, and every Monday night we continue by discussing, various Siddhantic topics or different appearance days or reading from different of our Guru Varga's writings, etc. So I want to give that number, and I want to give the code and everything again before we get started. So the area code is 605 in America here, 605, and the number is 472-5672. That's area code 605-472-5672. Now, once you are on the call, you'll be prompted, as you probably heard in the beginning when I was going on, to enter a code. That code is 576151 pound. So 576151, then you press pound. Now, after you do that, it will ask you to announce yourself. Once you've announced yourself, and Bhumipati Babu, who facilitates the conference, on his computer, he can see who's come on. So pretty much once you've announced yourself, we ask people to press *6, because what that does is it mutes your phone. So if you have any noise in the background, or you're multitasking, or anything else, it allows the conference line to remain clear. And when you do want to contribute, you want to add something, ask a question, give a commentary, you simply press *6 again, it unmutes your phone, and then you can participate and give your commentary, etc. Okay, so let's start to move forward with tonight's discussion. We have come in a sequence from discussing the very nature of the Atma. We went on to discuss how the Atma is bound in the material world. Last week we discussed how the Atma or Jiva becomes unbound, and it was established that the only means for the Jiva to become unbound is by the mercy of Sadhu, because Bhagavan himself empowers sadhus with the ability to distribute his own Shakti, his own power of liberation, so to speak, of bringing the jivas out of Maya. Bhagavan himself does not directly take part, but he empowers his own devotees. That's why when you hear verses in Sastra regarding Bhagavan's appearance in the world, it will say, paritranaya sadunam. Or in the 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, anugrahaya bhaktanam. So here the Lord is saying he actually appears in the world for the sake of Leela and pastimes with his devotees. A byproduct of the Lord's descent and association and enjoyment with his devotees is that the vinashaya chaduskritam, the miscreants are destroyed. Also the innocent, they are able to hear about these pastimes or associate with devotees who are speaking these pastimes, and they become benefited by that. Similarly, anugrahaya bhaktanam manushinam dehinam astita. Bhajate tadrasikritva yatshritva tatparo bhavet. In the verse in 10th canto Bhagavatam, Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakurpad has used bhavet as like an imperative in Sanskrit. You must do this. So he's saying in order to be benefited, when the Lord comes to give, anugrahaya means his mercy, bhaktanam, to his devotees. What kind of mercy? His lila vilas, his sweet pastimes with his devotees. To give them that mercy, the Lord descends to this world, and when he does that, those who are interested in walking the progressive path of bhakti must hear about that lila. Therefore, the sages of Namasharanya, they asked Sutta Goswami 6 questions. Among those questions was, please tell us about Krishna's lila. How we can be benefited, what will happen when Krishna leaves the planet, etc. But one main one, please tell us about Krishna's lila. Also, in the 10 categories that constitute any Puran, right? Atra saga visagascha stana posana uttaya manavatar ishanu kata niroda mukti asraya. So every Puran will have 10 categories. In those 10 categories, manavatar ishanu kata. What is the kata of the Isha, or the appearance of the Lord in a particular manavatar? So by hearing all these pastimes, it creates in the chitta, or in the consciousness of every jiva, an alternative narrative to what has been going on in the material world since time without beginning. We already went through this explanations regarding the jiva and the vicarious identification with chitta, etc. So it's so important that we hear Harikatha. And that Harikatha, when it comes from the lips of a sadhu, it has extreme power because it is imbued with Swarup Shakti. Swarup Shakti is the divine internal potency of God. Right? I'm explaining a few things because I see there are new people coming on the line as well. So the Swarup Shakti means the internal energy of the Lord. Right? The Bahiranga Shakti means the external energy of the Lord. And the jivas are composed of a Shakti that's like in the middle of that. It's called Tatastha Shakti. So when they hear the Antaranga or Swarup Shakti being emanated from the lips of pure, realized sadhus, then the efficacy of that sound vibration is so powerful. We already discussed it breaks the material attachment, but not only that, it gives rasayan, medicine, to heal the consciousness that has been afflicted by material energy for so long. And when the consciousness starts to become clear and bhakti starts to become mature, at that time, then that rasayana, medicine, becomes rasa. And Rupa Goswami in his Upadeshamritam, he gave the analogy of sugar candy and jaundice. That in the disease of jaundice, there is a particular feature, and that's that even when you taste something which is extremely sweet, it tastes bitter. Everything tastes bitter when you have jaundice. So, but by taking sugar candy, which is an Ayurvedic remedy in jaundice treatment, taking it regularly, gradually the disease is healed and the actual taste of sugar candy becomes apparent and then relishable. So in the same way, Harinam, Harikatha, it gradually purifies the consciousness, then it becomes relishable, and then it becomes extremely tasteful as rasa. Right? So I've described here now the importance of hearing Harikatha and hearing it from the lips of actual sadhus. Now, what to speak? Then Mukunda, why are we wasting our time with you? Because you are not that kind of sadhu. Also, those who will repeat the words of realized sadhus, they are benefited. So my actual participation here is speaking for my own edification, and as a Vaishnav Seva, sharing my own sort of self-edification speaking with others who are willing to accommodate me. So even a person may not be realized Vaishnav if they will repeat without implementation of false ego and or implementation of searching for profit, adoration, distinction while speaking, then that person will be genuinely benefited by the seva of repeating what sadhus have said. So again, for my personal edification, I'm doing the seminars because I don't have the quality of a sadhu who can imbue Swarup Shakti when speaking. So I will be benefited by rendering the seva of kirtan, and those who are listening, they are also benefited by participating in Shravan, of hearing what was spoken by pure Vaishnavas and sadhus. And in this way, all are genuinely nourished. So tonight's topic deals with now the beginning of the practice of bhakti. Because we've already described that bhakti is the ultimate process. Like last week we went over that in describing the various verses that describe pure bhakti, from Savaya Pumsam Paro Dharmo in Srimad Bhagavatam to Nara Pantaratra, where we describe Sava Upadi Vinaya Muktam Tat Patvena Nirmalam, this verse, and then of course Rupa Goswami Pad's verse, Anya Abhilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulena Krishna Anusilanam Bhaktir Uttam. We determine from neutral analysis of all the verses, having heard this from our Guru Varga, that Sri Rupa Goswami's verse stands supreme. Now this is a transcendental analysis. This is not a mundane analysis. This is better than this. This is better than that. From a transcendental point of view, this verse is superior. So I was speaking the other day to some friends on a three-way conversation, not quite a phone conference, but a three-way conversation. And one of the reasons why the verse of Rupa Goswami is so superior to others is because it was gleaned from the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Sri Radha and Krishna in combined form, realizing the pinnacle of love. The object of bhakti is love of God, prem. Prem is sadhya. So Radha and Krishna, when they come together in one form as Mahaprabhu, this is called Bhakti Naipunya, or the Bhakta Roop. And therefore, the fullness of Prem, Rasaraj, Mahabhav, are combined in one form. Mahabhav means Srimati Radhika, right? Because she's the emblem, she's the embodiment of Mahabhav in the highest degree. It means transcendental love for Krishna at the highest level. And Krishna is Rasraj, or Akila Rasamrita Murti. He's a personification of the object, right? The object of enjoying rasa and prem and love, right? So they combine together. That form is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is now in a position in order to give inspiration to understanding love, prem, bhakti, in a way that no previous incarnation could. Even Krishna himself, when Braj Lila was ending, he himself mentions Purva Vraja Vilase Etinabilas. So Purva means previously. Purva Vraja Vilas, previously in Braj Lila, during my Vilas there, my pastimes there, Teen Abilas, I was still left with three desires. We know this to be a fact because in Adi Lila chapter 1, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami reveals those three desires that Krishna had. Shri Radha Pranaha Mahima Kidraso Hanyeva. He wanted to know what is the nature of Radhika's pranay. In prem, or in love, in the whole conception of love, in the cosmology of bhakti, there are so many different levels. One level is called pranay. I'm not giving a whole class on that. I think we'll get to that coming up. But one level of prem is called pranay. Srila Gurudev used to say that the English language does not accommodate any real deep definition of love. Right? We say I love you in the material world. It means anything from I have butterflies in the stomach to you're cute. Right? But there's no real ability to express like a fullness. So you can't unpack that word love in one sense, in so many ways. And there is no unconditional love in the material world, because it's not possible to have unconditioned love in conditioned beings. And if they become unconditioned, the object of their love immediately becomes Shri Radha Krishna. So, therefore, in the material world, there is no real conception of love. But in the spiritual paradigm, love has so many unfoldments, so much unpacking, so much glory. So Krishna is asking, what is the pranay? Now, I'm going to explain the word pranay just for clarifying what we're speaking about. Pranay means when a lover and beloved come together and all barriers are down. Right? So I'm trying to give a mundane example here just to elucidate the point. If any two people have just started courting, and again, there is no comparison to material activities and spiritual or divine love. So don't get this confused, or don't try to conflate the two things, because there is none. There is no comparison. I'm simply giving an example to try to give an illustration for my own ability to accommodate, right? And hopefully maybe others being able to relate to experiences they've had, right? They can get some sense of what I'm speaking on. So when any two people come together in an initial relationship, there is so much sort of, it's called Maryada, means like respect or kind of distance, because there's not any kind of intimacy yet. There's no sense of being able to speak completely freely. Example, if you're going on a date with someone and you knock on the door, they open the door, and that lady says to the gentleman, "Oh, how do I look?" Now, she may have forgotten to comb her hair. She may actually still have salad on her teeth. But what will you say? What will you say? "Oh, you're charming. You're actually very beautiful." Right? Because there's still some sense of barrier there that you don't want to cross, because there's not enough familiarity in the relationship yet for you to feel comfortable in just saying what you want. Now, of course, some people are brutally honest and they may just say that. But in general, the case is, no, we'll be a little more restrictive in what we say. We may find a nice way later on to say, yes, there's some issue, you have salad in your teeth, whatever. But that's not, we won't broach that level yet in an initial meeting. So this is called like prior to pranay. But once you've come to know somebody very well, and once you're comfortable enough, you can hold hands, you can sit together closely, you can look at each other's eyes, so many different things. This in a material comparison is something like again, there is no real comparison, but this is something like pranay. So Krishna once was at Prem Sarovara. And at Prem Sarovara, Srimati Radhika was sitting on the lap of Krishna. At that time, the Priyanama Sakhas as well as Radhika Sakhis, they are present. And so one bumblebee, being very attracted to the lotus face of Srimati Radhika, and the complete fragrance coming from the combined body of Radha and Krishna, began to hum all around. It became a disturbance to Srimati Radhika. So Madhu Mangal, he's Priyanama Sakha, means he's a very intimate friend of Krishna, and he may be there at times like this, under certain conditions. He picked up a stick and he chased the bumblebee away. And when he had successfully done that, he announced his service by saying that Madhusudan has gone. Madhusudan is the name of a bee. But it is also a name of Krishna. Madhusudan is also a name of Krishna. There's many Rasic definitions. I'm not going down that whole line now. But when Radhika heard this, right, she's looking at Krishna eye to eye. She's sitting on the lap of Krishna. But the amazing thing about Prem, and especially Pranay, is that each individual sense, the tactile sense, the sense of smell, the sense of sight, sense of hearing, they all take on their own ecstatic, independent mood. So when she heard this, it became an udipan. Udipan means a stimulus. That udipan entered her ears and she thought, oh, Madhusudan is gone. She reeled back, closed her eyes. Now she could not see Krishna, so it confirmed to her that Krishna was gone. In that absorption, Radhika thought, oh, Krishna has left me, even though she was sitting right there on the lap of Krishna. Now, this kind of extreme bhav only takes place in Radhika's heart. Krishna, he can't experience this kind of prema. So therefore, in his heart, the question arose, Shri Radha Pranaya Mahima. What is the glory of the pranay of Radhika? And then he went on to ask two other questions. So my original point, Krishna had three desires. What is the glory of the love of Radhika? How Srimati Radhika experiences him. Krishna has wonderful qualities. Four qualities are prominent. His extraordinary flute playing, Venu Madhuri, the incomparable and unsurpassed beauty of Krishna, his Rupa Madhuri, his pastimes, how he has pastimes with his devotees. Nothing can compare to that. Lila Madhuri, and his own loving heart and how he associates in love with his associates, Prem Parika Madhuri. So he wanted to know, how does Radhika experience these things? And Sokyam Chasha, when she experiences them, she expresses happiness. What is the nature of that happiness? In order to do that, Krishna himself fulfilled those three desires with the blessings of Srimati Radhika by receiving the mood of Srimati Radhika and the position of Srimati Radhika. So now that Krishna has taken a position of Srimati Radhika and appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, now when he was giving instructions on bhakti, they were of a class that had not previously been given before. Because Krishna himself had not realized what kind of love is the highest love. He himself had not realized it. Now as Gauranga Mahaprabhu he's realizing. And he gives the fullness of his heart's realization to Rupa Goswami. Sancharya Rupe Vyatano Prabhusa. Right? Vrindavan Niyam Rasakeli Vartam Kalena Lupta Nija Shaktiyata. Right? In this verse, he gives his full heart into the heart of Rupa Goswami. It's described just like in the beginning of the creation, Krishna inspired in the heart of Brahma. Tene Brahma Rida Adi Kaivaye. So in the same way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embedded in the heart of Rupa Goswami his moods, understandings, and teachings. Therefore, the verse Anya Abhilasita Sunya manifest by Rupa Goswami was absolute and complete, and the best definition of pure bhakti. When Rupa Goswami is realizing what is the highest class of pure bhakti, to pass on how we should practice that pure bhakti, he begins by describing four things. One subject, but four different phases of it. So he goes on to describe that first we have to do Guru Pad Asraya. He described in 64 elements, right? Because bhakti, right? Bhakti, Uttam Bhakti has already been described. Later on, which we'll probably get into next week, I'm going to break down the different sections of bhakti. But the first section of bhakti that comes under discussion is called Sadhana Bhakti. Right? Kriti Sadhya Bhavet Sadhya Bhavasa Sadhana Bida Nitya Siddhasya Bhavasha Prakritam Riddhi Sadhyata. So, whenever you take all of the senses that have now been turned away from the material energy and you begin to engage them in the process of serving Krishna, right? Just like in that verse, Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Uchate. When you begin to serve Krishna, this is called Indriya Vyapara. Indriya Vyapara. It means to take your senses and engage them in the service of Krishna. How? Oh, we're taking our tongue and lips and chanting Harinam. We're taking our ears and hearing Harikatha. We're taking our eyes and we're looking at Thakurji, admiring the beauty of Thakurji. We're taking our hands and other working senses, engaging and offering arati, offering flowers, doing other kinds of seva for Thakurji. So now these senses, even though previously they were infused with avidya of material life or material energy, they now, under the influence of Sadhu Guru, they're taking on the quality of service to Krishna. So this verse says, by this activity of the senses, right, it does not create Nitya Siddhabhav. The senses cannot create that. The Nitya Siddhabhav, or pure love for Krishna, is eternally self-manifest. It is Nitya Siddhabhav. But what it does do is it ripens the field of the heart so that Prakritam Riddhi Sadhyata. So that transcendental Nitya Siddhabhav, that eternal loving emotion can manifest, Prakritam Riddhi, can manifest in the heart. Just like you prepare soil for planting. In the same way, by engagement of the senses, right, in the process of sadhana bhakti, right, it starts to prepare the heart. The first goal that will be obtained in the practice is sadhya bhav. Bhav means by practicing sadhana bhakti, we'll come to the stage of bhav. So, Rupa Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur apart in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, they say, why don't we say, if the goal of bhakti is love of God, why don't you say the sadhana is to produce prema? Why do you make a secondary step? So then, and this is what we'll get into next week, because actually, from the state of conditional life, by the practice of sadhana, and we'll get into the divisions, Raganuga and Vaidhi, all of that next week, right? By the practice of those, one comes to the stage where Swarup Shakti descends into the heart in a very small form, and it's called the Prem Ankur. Suddha Sattva Vishesh Atma Prem Surya Angsha Samyabhak. So Surya means the sun. Surya Angsha means a small ray of the sun of Prem enters the heart. That gives illumination in the heart of exactly who we are, what is our relation with Krishna, how we will serve in the spiritual, etc. Then, having realized that, we begin to practice Bhav Bhakti, and that Bhav Bhakti leads to Prem, which manifests once we give up this body and take a purely spiritual body. At that time, Prem manifests in that body, which is called the Vastu Siddhi body. All right, so I don't want to get too far off track, but I do want to set a framework for what we're talking about. Because we're talking about Rupa Goswami's instructions of how to practice bhakti. So unless we establish what the goal of that is, as Gurudev would say, if you don't have a sadhya, if you don't have a goal, how will you know what to practice, when to practice it, why you're practicing it, etc. And actually, this is one of the anarthas. Swarup Brahm. Swarup Brahm means I'm not sure about sadhana and sadhya. I'm not sure how to practice. What's the goal of my practice? Just like it's very important, because if you ask many devotees, so what is the goal of bhakti? Love of Krishna, Prabhu. What does that mean? It means you'll go back to Godhead and you'll love Krishna and you'll get out of the material world and stop suffering. But if you don't clearly understand what is the sequence, the progression of bhakti, that you will practice sadhana, and what kind of sadhana? Oh, what is the difference between Vaidhi and Raganuga? These are all things we'll discuss next week. What is the difference? If you don't have clarity on these things, you cannot practice clearly or properly. Also, if you don't have Sambandha Gyan, which we'll discuss tonight, you cannot practice properly. So by the proper practice, then we'll know that the first attainment is Bhav. Right? But even before we get to Bhav, even though it's not mentioned in Sastra in this way, devotees tend to, create another step. So that first accomplishment devotees want to reach is called Nishta, right? And we'll go through that in part next week as we're discussing Bhakti, the elements of Madhurya Kandambini, where we're discussing Anushtita Bhakti and coming to the stage of Nishta. That should be our hope to be our first attainment. And after that, then gradually going to Ruchi, Asakti, and to Bhav, right? But I brought all of that up to set the framework. Our sadhya is to get to Bhav by practicing sadhana bhakti. Rupa Goswami delineated the practice of sadhana bhakti in Vaidhi in 64 different sections. Those 64 sections have been distilled to 9. Those 9 have been distilled to 5, and 1 is prominent among them. I will speak on that shortly. But I wanted to get to the first of those 64 elements of the practice of bhakti that Rupa Goswami mentions. The very first one he mentions is Guru Pad Asraya. So what is Guru Pad Asraya? Guru Pad Asraya means first to understand what is Guru. Because you cannot do Guru Pad Asraya if you don't know what is Guru. So Gu Shabdat Andakara Sha Ru Shabdat Andakara Sha Nirodhita. So Guru means that person who can deliver a person from darkness to light. Andakara means darkness. So Gu here means Gu Shabdat Andakarasha. It means we're living in darkness. Darkness here is is a reference to the fact that we're in ignorance. We're in ignorance about our own identity, who is Bhagavan, what is our relationship, etc. So Gu means this andakarasha, this darkness. Ru means that person who has the power to deliver us from that darkness. Ru Shabdat andakarasha nirodita. He can destroy that darkness and therefore bring light. Because light is really the removal of darkness. But how do you remove darkness? You simply bring light. And darkness is immediately dissipated. If you wanted to remove darkness by simply taking it out in buckets or trying to put on a fan and blow the darkness out, it won't work. The only way to remove darkness is by light. So Guru means that person who is illuminated with Swarup Shakti. When they come into your life, then they can illuminate your heart. This is called Guru. To do Pad Asraya means, the word Pad means lotus feet of the Guru. So there's always a lot of reference to Pad, Guru Pad. Shri Guru Charana Padma. Right? Charana means feet also. So I'm taking shelter of the lotus feet of my Shri Gurudev. Why everything the reference to the lotus feet? So, by logic we could say, well, it means being humble. It means respecting the Guru, how high quality the Guru is. But actually the word Pad here means to take shelter of the seva of Guru. You understand? It means to take... Pada is really a synonym here for Guru Seva. It means to take shelter of the serving attitude towards Guru. Because when you want to do bhakti, it is anusilanam. Anukulyena Krishna anusilanam. Sil dhatu means endeavors, actions. Also in the verse, kriti saja bhavet saja. Actions of the senses engaged in the process of bhakti. So, doing service, doing activities should be done under the guidance and with an indication of service attitude to Guru. That's why Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Tadvidi pranipatena puri prishnena shevaya. Because bhakti itself, I explained before, the etymology of the word bhakti comes from the root is bhaj. Bhaj datu iti sevayam. So bhaj means to serve. So here Guru Pad means to serve the Guru. How will you serve Guru? By doing first Saranagati to Guru. This is the meaning of the word Asraya. How do we know that? Because Prahalad Maharaj clarified it. Iti pumsa prita Vishnu bhaktas chinnavalakshana. If you want to practice the 9 elements of bhakti, Shravan Kirtan Vishnu Smaranam Parasevanam Archanam Vandam Dasya Shakyam Atmanivedanam, first do Saranagati. Offer yourself first. And this is the difficult thing. This is the difficulty. Right? Because we may find some ease to go through the physical functions of bhakti. I can wake up at 4 o'clock. I can pick up my beads and go through the beads. Right? I can even take the Brahman's thread. And if you don't have Brahman's thread, you chant your mantras. So you can go through all of the externals of it. But it really starts to take fruit or take hold in terms of raising the consciousness when you actually do Saranagati. So what is Saranagati? So Guru we spoke on. Pad means the attitude of service to Guru. Right? And Asraya means doing Saranagati. So what is that Saranagati? Anukul Yasha Sankalpa Pratikul Yasha Vibhajanam. First 2 things. Whatever is not favorable for bhakti, that should be whatever is favorable for bhakti, that should be done. So sometimes these things become very pragmatic. It's not just esoteric. It's not just philosophical. So I'm giving an example in my own personal life. When I retired from the police department, I also had a second career as a musician. If I had stayed in the area where I left to move to Alachua, my ability to work in music would have been expansive. I had already had a very established career. I had already toured, done so many different things. So there would have been an excellent opportunity now being retired to really fulfill that second career in a large way. It would have been financially rewarding and so many other things. But when I thought about it, I thought, well, really in one sense, I have not a lot of money, but I think along with my good wife, we could make a basic living without having to do that. And I could dedicate myself more to bhajan, to study, to trying to advance in bhakti. So here's a practical call of whether I'm going to do anukul yasha towards bhakti, or rather I'm going to put that on the back burner. So I chose, no, we should come here. Because in the long run, this is the most important thing in my life. So therefore we gave that up, right? Because the next thing is pratikul yasha vivajanam, to give up things which will not help you in bhakti. So this is not a condemnation of music, right? I was still able to find facility here to continue to record for artists that I had recorded for, and even to continue to receive some financial remuneration from the services and everything. But it helped me so much by being in a community of devotees to have consistent association, to make my life more molded around bhajan practice and doing seva like traveling, preaching and other kinds of things. This is pragmatic anukulyasha sankalpa pratikulyasha vivajana, making a vow to try to do that which is favorable and give up that which is not favorable. Similarly, rakshashati goptrave varanam tata. We should consider, no matter what stage of life we're in, that our protection and our maintenance has come from Krishna. This is not a excuse to not be prudent, right? Because some devotees, they'll do things which are extremely dangerous and say, well, I'm leaving it all up to Krishna. So that's not being prudent. We have even examples. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami Pad, he was so absorbed in bhajan life at the highest level that even once at Radha Kund, Sanatan Goswami Pad came and saw that 2 tigers were approaching. After that, he told Raghunath Das Goswami Pad, you should build a bhajan kuti, because you don't want that Srimati Radhika should have to come and render service. Also, once he saw Raghunath Das Goswami in the blazing heat of India during the summer, and Radhika actually putting her veil over Raghunath Das to shade him, and he was oblivious, being absorbed. So we don't do things that are not prudent in the name of Krishna's always protecting me and Krishna's my maintainer. Like there was a era of devotees who were traveling around and they had no means of maintenance or anything else. Now, that's not those who were traveling with Gurudev and they managed to procure funds for that. But some devotees were just traveling around. They pop up in one place or another place. And it's, yes, Krishna's just going to take care of me. If you're in genuine belief of that, then the most ideal place to execute that would be in Braj. Because in Braj, the culture is centered around bhajan life. So many other people are doing bhajan there. So your interest in being free-spirited or being in a position where I won't worry about any material considerations whatsoever, but I will simply depend on Krishna in all kinds of ways, that would be better, and so much more benefit would come from it by being done in Braj itself. Why roam around urban cities in America or Europe or Australia or anywhere else in an attempt to do that where there's so many things which are pratikul to bhajan? Right? So I'm speaking pragmatically here because part of the seminar was Krishna consciousness applied. So it wasn't just a matter of speaking philosophically, but practically as well. So, also, humility, right? Pratiku yashvivajanam, also, atmanikshepa karpanya. So atmanikshepa karpanya means constant sense of humility. How will we maintain humility? Because actually humility is not present in the conditioned jiva. So we need to know that. Because the very nature of ahamkara, right, that I am the doer and the cause of my activities, and the upadis or designations you receive to carry that out are imbued with a natural pride. It's imbued with a natural pride, right? So it is not inherent in the jiva that humility is there. So in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Srila Sanatana, I believe it's Brihad Bhagavatamrita, I may be mistaken, someone can correct me later, but there's one verse. Paripokena danasya Krishna prema ajasanvitanyate. That actually, danya means humility, becomes paka means ripe, the more we become Krishna conscious. The more actually bhakti has come in the heart, the more genuine humility or danya bhav is coming. Now, prior to the appearance of genuine danya bhav, right, humility, we will follow the Vaishnav Sadachar and Vaishnav etiquette, because built into following that, it allows us not to express our pride, which in itself becomes a sense of humility. We don't have the actual natural spiritual bhav, which is humility, but by following Vaishnav Sadachar, right? Now we're being guided by principles which help us to keep the ego in check. I can remember in 1975, living in the temple, right? This is the first time I'm living in a temple, is 1975. And I remember seeing clearly that even if two devotees got into a discussion and that discussion became heated, they immediately, when the discussion became heated, paid obeisances to each other. Because it was just a known thing that to commit Vaishnav aparad, even doesn't matter high class Vaishnav, this Vaishnav aspirant, whatever, right? Of course, there is some distinctions, but I'm saying just in general, the consciousness was there. I should not offend anyone, right? So because that consciousness was there, as soon as something would happen, devotees would immediately pay obeisances in order to kind of dissipate the atmosphere of that potential aparad, right? So this kind of following of Vaishnav Sadachar is the humility which we can utilize while we're in the aspiring stage and while we're growing in bhakti. So Atmanikshepa Karapanya, Saranga Saranagati. These 6 things comprise Saranagati. So here the word Asraya means doing Sharanagati. Guru I've already explained. Pada I've already explained. Doing Asraya to Guru Pad I've explained just now. So Guru Pada Asraya. Then Rupa Goswami said, once you're able to do Guru Pada Asraya, then Diksha, Dikshadi, right? I'm trying to remember the verse in sequence here. Krishna Diksha Adi Shikshanam, right? Or Krishna Dikshadi Shiksha, right? So Krishna Diksha means one then is in a more suitable position. Now sometimes we have not come yet to the actual stage of Saranagati. In most cases, maybe not. But Gurudev, out of their infinite kindness, they still bestow upon the aspirant Shri Nam and Diksha. Still, because they're so merciful. And they know that by their mercy and by the sincerity of desire of the individual, gradually they'll make progress. Gradually they'll make progress. We discussed that when we discussed the value of sadhu sangha, that even a Madhyamadikari in eligibility to practice sadhana, his saving grace is that he has firm faith in a sadhu. Because Sastra Yukti Nahi Jani. He doesn't have deep understanding of Sastra and all these things. But he has firm faith, Drita Shradayandra, in what? In a sadhu. So Guru says, if you have deep faith in me, right? Then I will give Nam and Diksha, and by that deep faith, gradually, one will rise up. So, Krishna Diksha. So, there's been a lot of confusion for many years. What is initiation, right? Because we've taken the English word initiation as the sort of bucket to put the whole process of Vaishnav, receiving of Nam and receiving of the Diksha mantras. We put it in one bucket, call it initiation, divided into 2, first initiation, second initiation. But actually, clearly speaking, the receiving of Sri Nam is one thing. The receiving of Diksha mantras is another thing. Because Sri Nam is not dependent. Sri Nam is not dependent. It's actually mentioned. Diksha Purascharya Viri Apeksha Na Kare Jive Spashe Achandala Sabre Udhare. That when a person chants the holy name, there's no need of any Purascharya, even Diksha. So, holy name, the implication here is that Nam can stand on its own. Nam itself is not dependent on Diksha. But, and this is something that has to be understood, because I've seen many people online, in fact, I just discussed with somebody online recently, who was indicating you don't need to take Diksha. You just can take Harinam, and Harinam is powerful enough to deliver you. Well, let's back up and let's take a closer look at that. Sri Nam, its efficacy is there for sure. But if you yourself are not a suitable receptacle for the potency of Nam it makes a difference. Therefore, you cannot compare how Nam will work coming from the heart into the mouth of Haridas Thakur and coming from our mouths. I cannot speak for everybody on the phone, so please forgive me. I don't want to make any assumptions. I don't know who's on the phone. So I beg forgiveness to any of those. Many high-class devotees are on the phone. I'm speaking in a general way, so please forgive me and don't take any offense. So in a general way, we may not have the sanskars that when we chant Harinam, right, that it will produce the same degree of efficacy, even though it is absolute, as it does coming from the heart of those whose hearts are already pure, or those who have very deep samskars from previous lives' practice of bhakti. Therefore, diksha is very important. Srila Gurudev used to say, if you want to eat rice, the most important thing in the conception that I want to eat rice is getting the rice itself. But if somebody hands you a bowl of rice, but you have no means to cook it, making it digestible for you, then that rice is not going to work in an optimal way for you. It will not be optimal. If you try to eat raw rice, the nutritional value will be different, right? Your ability to digest it will be different. So in the same way, even though Nam is absolute and perfect, right? Purno Suro, Nitya Mukto, Nam is always completely pure and completely perfect. That is not the doubt. But our ability to manifest in our own hearts suitable accommodation for Nam, that's the question. This is what the Diksha mantras do. The Diksha mantras give suitable conditioning to the consciousness and to the heart to be able to realize Nam. Now, Chaitanya Charitamrita has clearly said that Nam, it reaches from the highest realm, because Nam is Sri Krishna himself. Purnaso Nitya Mukto Abhinatvam Nama Namyo. Abhinatvam means Nam is not different from Nami. Nam is not different from Radha and Krishna. Hare Krishna means Radha and Krishna. So that name resides in its persona in Radha and Krishna in the highest realm. That name also as an avatar can descend to the lowest level. Therefore even Chandalas, Malechas, anybody can chant Harinam. Even Mahaprabhu showed in his Leela, even a dog was chanting Harinam. There are many pastimes, both in Chaitanya Mangal, also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Shivananda Saint personally witnessed the dog chanting in front of Mahaprabhu. What to speak of dogs? When Mahaprabhu went to the Jarikan forest, he even got tigers, bears, elephants, even animals which have a natural animosity to each other, gave up their nature because of the influence of Nam coming from Nami himself, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You understand? So, Nam is all powerful, but we have to make our heart a suitable receptacle. This is what the Diksha mantras are for. So now, when we receive Nam from Gurudev, because Nam can come from the highest level down to the lowest, then that begins to assist us in our purification. Why? Vaikunta Nama Sesha Hagam Haram Vidu. Right? Sanket Parihasam Vyastobam Helanam Va. Vaikunta Nama Sesha Haga Asesha Aga Haram Vidu. Harinam is of such a power that even Sanket means if you say it as a hinting something else. Vastobam, right? You say them in a different way. Parihas, if you say it jokingly. Helanam means with neglect. If you're just chanting neglectfully. Still, Vaikuntanama Sesha Aga Haram Vidu. It can destroy all kinds of sins. This is how powerful Nam is. It has the power to destroy all kinds of sins, even when it's not chanted properly. But that verse was not a directive to chant Harinam not properly. That wasn't what the intention of the verse was. The intention of the verse was to say, if Harinam is so powerful that even under these circumstances it has such potency, what to speak of chanting pure Nam? This is the indication in the verse. If Harinam has this kind of power, when Sankyat, Parihasam, Vastobam, Helanam, when under those conditions Nam is so powerful it can destroy all sins, this is Namabas, what to speak of pure Nam? Pure Nam can give prem. So that Nam goes from the highest realm down to the lowest realm. Now, what are the Diksha mantras then? So, the process of Diksha has also been discussed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Diksha kale bhakta kare atma samarpan, she kale krishna tare kare atma sam. The purpose of the Diksha mantras is not only to purify the consciousness, but it is also to give a direct relation or consciousness of a relation with a particular form of Krishna, right? So the word Diksha itself is divided into two things. Di means Dibya Gyan. Kshi means Kshiyate Ksha means Kshiyate Papanasanam. Diksha means Diyate Param Gyan, means giving of transcendental knowledge. And Kshiyate Papanasanam, the power to destroy all the obstacles and sins which may be in the way of realizing Nam. So bestowing transcendental knowledge, Dibya Gyan, and destroying obstacles like anarthas and other sins which block our ability to realize the nature of Sri Nam. So what is the transcendental knowledge that is given by the Diksha mantras? Jiva Goswami mentions them clearly. Dibya Gyanam Yanta Mantre Bhagavat Sarup Gyanam Tena Bhagavat Sambandha Visesh Gyanangscha. So in a seed form in the Diksha mantras, Divya Gyanam Yanta Mantre, this Divya Gyan in the form of a seed in the mantra. What is it? Divya Gyanam Yanta Mantre, Bhagavat Sarup Gyan. It is full of Bhagavat Sarup Gyan. It means it has knowledge of the nature of Bhagavan. In giving the nature of Bhagavan, revealing the nature of Bhagavan, it also gives Visesh Sambandha Gyan. So what does Visesh mean? Specific knowledge of a specific type of relationship that jiva has with a particular form of Bhagavan. So now two kinds of Vaishishta are present. Vaishishta means speciality. One, what particular form of Bhagavan is my Ishtadev? And what particular type of relationship with that form of Bhagavan do I have? This in seed form is present in the Diksha mantras. That is why the Diksha mantras are so important. That is why the Diksha mantras are so important. Actually, Raghunath Das Goswami, he told that we should not neglect our mantras. Right? In the very first verse of Manasiksha, he said, So mantra Sri Namne Vrajanava Yuva Dandva Sarane Sada Dandva Hitva Ratim Apurvam Atitaram. So Apurva means previously. So whatever you thought was important previously, nothing can exceed the importance, right, of Sri Nam and your Guru given mantras. That is the import of this verse here. So Sada Dambha Hitva. Dambha means pride. Therefore, continuously give up your pride of thinking something else is more important. And do Guru Pad Asraya. Do Asraya Saranagati to Guru Mantra. The Diksha mantra is given by Guru and Sri Harinam. This is the advice of Raghunath Das Goswami in Manasiksha. So Diksha mantras are extremely important. And without having Diksha mantras, a person cannot understand or realize Sambandha Gyan. If you have no Sambandha Gyan in your practice, then you cannot, let me not say you can't practice. Essentially what you will be doing is compiling Sukriti. And hopefully at some point that Sukriti or pious activity will bear the fruit of Sadhu Sangha. Now some people say, wait a minute, Mukunda, I already have Sadhu Sangha. You may be in the proximity of a sadhu, no doubt. Nobody can say that. You may have been in the proximity of a sadhu. You may have rendered intimate service physically in the presence of a sadhu. But remember our description of sadhu sangha, samyak rupein anugamana. Had you done saranagati at that time? Had you given your heart, your mood, your mind? Had you given everything to that sadhu? If not, you did not fully get sadhu sangha. You didn't fully get sadhu sangha. So sadhu sangha is not something that's like a one-time event either. Every day, even after Shri Guru went to Samadhi, we're doing sadhu sangha. both of manifest sadhus, of course, and also of our Gurudev continuously. In deepening our bhajan, we're deepening our level of sadhu sangha with Sri Guru as well. The fruit of that deepening of your sadhu sangha will then illuminate the meanings in the mantras that were given by Sri Guru. Then you will understand what is my Sambandha Gyan. Even I've spoken to devotees, it's written clearly in Chaitanya Charitamrita, right, in Madhya Lila chapter 8, the meaning of Gayatri Mantra. Especially Kam Gayatri Mantra is written clearly there what it is. But most devotees cannot even recite what the verse is that is the meaning of Kam Gayatri Mantra. And of course, devotees are reciting Brahma Gayatri Mantra, and they're thinking it's about the worship of the sun. This means there is Swarup Brahm. There isn't a clarity regarding what is the meaning of the mantra. And when you receive Diksha, this is one of the most important elements of receiving that Diksha. It is called Mantra Artha Chintan. To Chintan means your consciousness, means your heart, your mind, everything, your consciousness. To contemplate, Artha means the meaning. To contemplate in the depths of your consciousness, the meaning of the mantra is one of the elements of genuinely receiving a mantra. You don't receive the mantra, you get a thread if you're a man, and you get a smile if you're a lady, and you get to hear the words intimately in your ear, and you get a t-shirt, then a huge fire is performed, you get a black dot on your head from the ash, and then you may get a t-shirt from the festival, and I've received second initiation. No, not at all. Receiving Diksha means I receive with clear understanding, and if not, I ask my Gurudev for clarification. What is the meaning of this mantra? What is the meaning of this mantra? Then Gurudev will tell, in essence, what is the meaning of the mantra. Then you start to look within Harikatha and Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamritam and in the association of many sadhus in their Harikatha, and the meaning becomes more and more crystallized by the influence of Swarup Shakti in their Harikatha. If you don't do this, if you neglect high-class sadhu sangha, and you don't hear high class of Harikatha, then the seed of that mantra will not be nourished. Mahaprabhu told in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mali konose bijaropan, Shravanam kirtane jale korye shekon. Become like Malik means a gardener. Take the seed of bhakti given by Guru, plant it, but then water it. How? By Shravan and Kirtan. This is how you nourish the seed. Now, obviously, even in the material world, there are different qualities of water. Different environments have different degrees of sunlight. So all of that affects the nature of a planted seed. So in the same way, if you don't get high class of sadhu sangha, right? And you have to give up pride to do that. You have to give up pride. You have to give up extending the false ego into the idea of the spiritual community and saying, I belong to this community, I belong to that community, this is my guru only, that's your guru only. No, guru means guru. Guru means who's a realized soul. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshan. Who's seen the truth. He's guru. So guru is one. Guru is not many. Not my guru, your guru. I'm going to get to the meaning of my guru in a minute here. But it's not the sectarian dynamic that's played out by many souls in the form, oh, this is my guru, my group, my institution, my ashram, my etc. When it comes to Guru Tattva, Guru is one. If it's genuine Guru, then you can hear Harikatha in that environment and it should be nourishing. Because it should be of the quality of Shabda Brahman. If it is not Shabda Brahman, it may help you to get free from your anxiety in the material world a little bit, but it may not actually be able to penetrate and grow the seed of bhakti. It may not help you to do diksha when you're doing your mantras. It may not help you with your rahasya dhyan. Rahasya dhyan means meditation on the rahasya of the mantra. Rahasya means the secrets of the mantra. First, you have to know what they are. You have to inquire. Ask to high class of Vaishnavas. Listen, my Gurudev gave me this most potent mantra. Very deep, very pregnant, with all kinds of deep moods. Please help me. I didn't get fully this advantage when I was in the association of my Gurudev. This is not a fault. I didn't somehow do it. Please, oh sadhu, please give me siksha in my Guru mantras so that I can serve my Gurudev better. I can understand better. There's nothing wrong in this. But if we maintain sectarian spirit, oh, I only have my group of sadhus, and there's only this group of sadhus, and you make different kinds of separation based on very mundane criteria, right? No, not a good thing. So I don't want to go down that track. Let's stay on track here. So, in the Diksha mantras, Sambandha Gyan is the potent thing that's there. By this Sambandha Gyan, now when you're practicing Bhakti, now when you hear Harikatha, now when you take Harinam, now when you go to do Murti Seva, right? Because we spoke that Rupa Goswami, he had 64 different things he elaborated on. I'm going to finish Guru Parashraya here in a minute. But then that thing is shrunk down to 9. Hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet, praying, considering the Lord one's friend, Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Parasevanam, Archanam, doing Seva to Thakurji, Archanam, Vandanam, offering prayers, Dasyam, considering myself to be Dasato of Krishna. Sakyam here means not like Sakya Ras. Here Sakya means the mood of intimacy. So it indicates Raganuga Bhakti. This is the meaning here. Dasatwa is inviting. We're all Das of Krishna. But the mood of Sakya here means the mood of more intimacy. I see Bhagavan as my bosom friend, right? And then I'm trying to nourish the particular rasa that I have, right? That is called Sakyam. Then Atma Nivedanam, when we become realized, what is my Atma? Then Atma Nivedanam, I'm offering that Atma at the lotus feet for Bhagavan Seva according to the particular rasa in that Atma, right? That's been realized in that Atma, right? So this is the importance of the Diksha mantra. So Krishna, Diksha, Shiksha. So Rupa Goswami himself is mentioning, why has he mentioned Diksha and Shiksha? He could have just said, get the mantras, Diksha, and now you're good to go. Simply practice with Sambandha Gyan and you'll be all right. Why did he bring up Siksha? And in Anuched 207 of Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami goes into elaborate detail about Diksha and Shiksha gurus, beginning around Anuched 200 from there, right? He goes through explicitly and in great detail about Diksha and Shiksha guru. Why is Shiksha guru so prominent and important? Even if you look in our line, Shiksha guru is very prominent. Now it is sometimes a fact that the Diksha guru is the Shiksha guru. But Shiksha guru can be many. Diksha guru, of course, all Shastra says can only be one. Only one Diksha guru. Right? But many Shiksha gurus you can have. But those Shiksha gurus should be of the caliber of my Diksha guru. If they're not of the caliber of realization of my Diksha guru, they should be very excellent parrots, shukkas, like Shukadev Goswami. They should be shukha of my Gurudev's words. If they can do that, they're also helpful. If they can be shukha of my Gurudev's words and moods, they're also very helpful as Shiksha Guru. Right? Also, even Vatma Pradakshak Guru. Vatma Pradakshak Guru means those who help us along the path. Like Dhruva Maharaj's mother, Suniti. Suniti. Suniti means who gives good instruction. Right? Dhruva Maharaj, Dhruva means determination. He's very determined to accomplish his goal. Right? So he turned away from Suruchi. Suruchi means who is very much into, Ruchi means material taste. There's a whole story of Dhruva Maharaj, very nice explanations and very nice definitions and insights embedded in the names of the participants. Like Maharaj Uttampad. Uttampad means whose feet is up and head is down. It means his priorities are reversed. Because he takes as his favorite wife, Suruchi, that which gives him more material taste. But his other wife is actually the most qualified. She's Suniti. She's full of good instructions, Dharma. You understand? So she was the Vatma Pradakshak Guru of Dhruva Maharaj. So similarly, we may meet many people who are like that. They will help us along the path. But Shiksha Guru in particular, he should be like Diksha Guru. Sastra mentions Shiksha and Diksha Guru are one. They are different in functions. It's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Right? So Siksha is very important. So Rupa Goswami is established. Take Diksha, then Siksha, then Vishrambena Guru Seva. Right? After a person has received Diksha and they're receiving Siksha, it is extremely important that one becomes intimate with Sri Guru. What does this word Vishramba mean? Vishramba means when you take down all the barriers. Vishramba means that there's a sense of awe and reverence. But what is that awe and reverence based on? I actually want to keep Guru Dev in a very high position, and I'm kind of staying low in order to keep my anarthas and everything covered, even hidden from Guru Dev himself. Of course, Guru Dev can see everything, so there's some duplicitousness there. Kapatya, some cheating tendency there. So, the word here, Vishramba, means to break down that barrier and to allow your heart to be fully exposed knowingly, because Guru Dev knows your heart anyway. So what he's checking is whether you'll be a kapatya, right, or cheating or duplicitous or not, right? The kutanati, right? This is one another, kutanati, duplicitousness, right? So Guru Dev is only checking where you be that because he knows your heart. So he's saying, oh, when you put down the barriers of trying to protect by your pride, your image, and you'll open your heart up to me and let me see clearly. This way, in intimacy, I can help you do bhajan. Because Guru Dev is not interested in Guru worship. He has no Guru Abhiman. Nityananda is a Khanda Guru Tattva, and he says himself, right? It's written about him, not he says himself, but written, Akroda Paramananda Nityananda Rai, Abhimana Sunya Nitai Nagare Vedai. That Nityananda Prabhu, he has no Guru Abhiman. So how can Vyasti Guru, the manifestation of Nityananda, who's truly Guru, how will he have Abhiman to want Labdha, Puja, and Pratishta, worship, prestige, and all these different things? So Guru's not interested in that. Guru's interested, can I get that disciple's heart? Because if I get that heart, that I can offer to Sri Krishna. Numbers I can't offer. I can't go to Krishna and say, yeah, I got 10,000 now. I got 11,000 now. My numbers are really up, Krishna. This is not Guru's interest. Guru's interested, can I get one Suddha Vaishnav, one Suddha heart, one pure heart, and offer that at the lotus feet of Krishna. This is Guru Dev's real desire. So, for this reason, Vishrambena Guru Seva has to be there. So the mood of service, being free from any duplicitousness, any cheating tendency, open heart, surrendered heart to Guru, it's called Vishrambena Guru Seva. These are the first category and the first divisions of that category that Rupa Goswami is given. Then he says, Sadhu Vartma. Sadhu Vartmanu Vartmanam. So Vartmanu means the path. So being anugatya to the path of the Guru Varga. Because our Guru Varga, or the line of sadhus, is being followed by our Guru Dev. We want to get on that path. Right? Because why is the sadhu Vartma important? The path of those sadhus. Even Rupa Goswami mentions it in Upadeshamrita as well. Following the path of the sadhus. Why? Because Sri Guru, he is not an island in and of himself. He is a chain. He is a chain of succession. Krishna himself told, Evam parampara praptam imam rajasayo vidu. Right? That knowledge comes down in a chain. It's called parampara. So Guru Dev wants to put us on that path. Right? And now we can look back through the lotus feet of Seva to Guru Dev. Through that Seva, we get transcendental iksha. Means the ability to see transcendentally all of the path of our sadhu Guru Vargas. And therefore we begin to see all of their contributions and their commissions to Mahaprabhu's Leela. And all these things in a deep way. Looking through the Seva of our Guru, we see our whole Guru Varga. But even now, many people don't even recite their whole Guru Vargas. Right? Jai Gurudev ki Jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Jai maybe back to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. We should recite the Jai Advani, reciting our Guru Varga back to Mahaprabhu. This is our pranali. This is our channel of perfection. Potency is coming down through that channel. At what point will you mention the Guru now? Bhaktisiddhanta said, oh, you will not mention my holy name of my Guru Maharaj? Srila Gaurkishore Babaji, you won't mention? Gaurkishore Babaji Maharaj, he took his primary shiksha with Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You will not mention Bhaktivinoda Thakur? The foundation of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you won't mention his name? Oh, it's too much for you to spend a few extra minutes to mention the prominent shiksha guru of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Baladev Vijabhushan, Gaudiya Vedanta Acharya. He's given us Govinda Basha. He saved our Sampradaya and the save of Radha. It's too much to mention it. Rasik Siromani Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad. He's given so much commentary on all of our Goswami Granthas, on Srimad Bhagavatam, everything. Oh, you cannot offer your heart and pranam to... So like this, going back and back in our line and praying for their causeless mercy just by reciting the Jayadwani. So these are the first four things Rupa Goswami Pad is given in the practice of bhakti. First, doing Guru Padasraya, then taking Diksha, understanding the importance of Shiksha, following the path that the sadhus have laid out. This initiates our practice, having come to the point of being surrendered, of entering the mode of practicing bhakti. Next week, we'll go on to continue discussing exactly how that bhakti is practiced. We'll bring in elements from Madhurya Kandambini, describing what is anistita bhakti in practicing sadhana, etc., etc. So we'll go from there. Before we end tonight, today is Gopastami, and it is the day, as I mentioned earlier, when Sri Krishna graduates and he is given his implements to now start herding the cows. He was previously taking care of the calves, right? And now he's graduated. So today, Go Puja is done. The cows are fully decorated, as well as the cowherd boys. They have a huge ceremony for their now growing up in the community, right? Transcendental bar mitzvah, baptism, rites of passage, if you want to call it that. But now they're going to take care of the cows. This is a very big thing. The reason it's a big thing is because also it is now the time of independence. When they took care of the calves, there was always cowherd men watching over them as they took care of the calves. But now, some independence has come. So now Krishna can spread out and be a little more independent in his Leela. So this is a very, very big day. Also on this day, when Leela takes place, some people say it was on this day, some people say it was actually on a different day. It's just remembered on this day. But Krishna once, he was very much pining for the association of Srimati Radhika. Among Krishna's boyfriend associates, the Priyanama Sakas are privy to Krishna's heart regarding the gopis. The Priya Sakas, they are mostly absorbed directly in play with Krishna, and they don't so much deal with, they have a sense of his dealing with gopis, but it's not part of their realm of activity. Priyanama Sakas like Subal, Madhumanga, Ujwal, right? Dam, Vasudam, Sridam, Kinkini. These are like Priyanama Sakas, and they're very dear to Krishna. So once, Krishna was with Subal and he was explaining the depth of his separation from Srimati Radhika. Because Subal is so much, he's one heart with Krishna. So what pain Krishna feels, Subal will also feel. So he wanted to know a means by which he could eradicate that pain, but there was no means except to bring Srimati Radhika directly there to Krishna. So this mission Subal took up. He devised a plan. I think I know what I can do. So he took one of his cows and he went near the house of Jatila in Yavat. There he took his cow. When he got close enough, he twisted the tail of the cow, and as soon as the tail was twisted, the cow ran off and ran in the direction, right, inspired by Subal, ran in the direction of Jatila's house, mixing in with the house animals there and everything. So Jatila, she's always on guard. Who's there? Who's there? So she came out, she saw Subal, knowing he's the friend of Krishna. Oh, what are you doing here? And where is that Kanai? Where's that Krishna? Where's your friend? He must be lurking around here somewhere with ill intention. Subal said, Maya, please. I came here, my one calf strayed from the group, and as I came close and almost captured it, it ran off and ran into your dwelling. So I've only come to retrieve that cow. I've not come. Actually, Krishna is nowhere nearby here even. So, in this way, the heart of Jatila softened a little bit. She told Subal, okay, go retrieve your cow, and immediately you should go. So Subal went. And the Sokis, knowing the intention of Subal, they snuck Subal into the inner chamber, because in the houses at that time there was like an external area, then an internal quarters where the ladies stayed. So they snuck Subal into that inner quarter, and quickly they devised a plan. Listen, Krishna, his heart is in such a state that if he doesn't see you, he may give up his life. This was intolerable. So they were willing to do things which were extraordinary in order for Radhika to see Krishna. So one of the plans they devised is, listen, Subal, you are so beautiful by nature, and our complexions are slightly similar. Let us change cloth, and then I will make believe I'm you, and you stay in the room. You make believe you're sick, and you stay in the room, right? And my Sakis will cover for you. So Subal said, yes, this is a great idea. He confirmed this idea. So at that time, all of the Sakis, they made separate arrangement, and they allowed the exchange of the clothes between Subal and Radhika. So Radhika put on the dhoti and the pagal and upper cloth and everything. There was only one issue. Of course, the anatomy of Subal and Radhika are different. So how to accommodate the anatomy of Radhika? So Subal said, listen, you pick up my calf, and you hold in that area of extra anatomy, and when you're leaving, you simply think you're very happy, so you don't say anything to Jatila, so she doesn't recognize any voice arrangement, and simply when she calls out, have you found your cow, you simply nod. So having dressed Radhika like this, and Radhika having picked up the calf, now Radhika's walking out, her upper area is covered, and she walks away, and Jatila says, oh, you found your calf. Yes, yes, Maya. Right? All the Sakis are repeating, because now only Radhika's nodding her head. I've heard the story in so many different ways. But once I've heard Radhika's only nodding her head, and all the Sakis saying, yes, yes, he's found. So then the Sakis go back in the room and close the door. They say, oh, Radhika's very tired now. There's been so much excitement during the day. She will rest. And in this way, Radhika goes and she meets with Krishna. Radhika looks so much like Subal at that time that when Krishna looks, he looks to Subal with very longing eyes. Were you successful? Were you successful? So at that time, Radhika puts her head down. So Krishna takes that Subal has come back and he's unsuccessful. At that time, Krishna begins to speak openly about how much he loves Radhika, how much he misses Radhika, this, that, he's going on and on and on and on, right? And then Radhika's bodily fragrance is so powerful. So a whiff of the bodily fragrance of Radhika emanates and touches the nostril of Krishna. Krishna looks up with tears in his eyes and he tells the Subal, listen, Subal, I'm catching the breeze of my beloved. She must be somewhere very, very nearby. I beg you, go again, and find her. She must have snuck away and tried to find me. So in this way, Radhika, she could not take it. Looking at Krishna's condition, she began to, her beauty, everything began to manifest itself, and Krishna realized that Radhika herself was present there, dressed like Subal. In this way, they had wonderful vilas afterwards. So on this day, one thing that happens in the temples is normally Radhika's transcendental lotus feet are always covered, but because she dressed in this gop vesh for today, right, or on this day that this lila happened, her transcendental beauty of her lotus feet were exposed. So it was a very, very special blessing that all the Brijabasis and Vaishnavas, they get a chance to directly pray looking at the transcendental lotus feet of Srimati Radhika. So Jai Gopastami ki Jai, Shri Srinivas Acharya ki Jai, Shri Dhananjaya Pandit ki Jai, and Shri Gadadhar Das ki Jai. My Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees for your kindness and your patience during the technical difficulties and for tolerating me in doing this conference. All right, so I'm going to end the Facebook conference now unless there's any pressing question, and I'm hoping I'm not sideways again. I just don't really know how to do this. I tried to adjust the screen, but if that turns out to be the case, whenever you view the tape back, once you push it, you can always push the directional arrows, and it will turn the image right side up. So, because I'm just not sure I have done it right, and I'll try to get it together and make sure that it's always set properly.
Yeah, you're sideways, Mukunda.
Okay, so Yeah, so anybody who wants to view it, though, when you go in, you can push the arrows and it will adjust it so that it turns the proper way. And I will inquire how to set it in such a way that whenever I'm doing it live like this, it will be set to the proper angle. Alrighty, I don't see any questions that are written here. I see encouragements, but no questions. So if that is the case, then I'm offering my Dandavat Pranam to devotees on the live Facebook, and then I will come to the phone conference and take any questions that might be there, or if we want to continue with some glorifications. So my Dandavat Pranam to devotees on the Facebook, Vanchakalpa Turubhishcha Kripashindavevacha Potitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Jai Rupanuga Guru Vaga ki Jai, Jai Shri Gaura Gadadhar ki Jai, Jai Shri Radha Vallabh Ju ki Jai, Jai Jai Shri Radhe.